Alrighty, Mike with insightful imagery. I want to show you guys real quick, walk with you through how I will edit a couple of these, one or two of these Acorn Woodpecker photos that I took. If you'd seen the video of me taking those images with the Canon's my 400mm 5.6 Canon lens, it doesn't have IS, and so the point of that video was showing that I can repeatedly get images out of that lens by shooting on a tripod. And so anyway, not to rehash that video, but just to kind of follow over to this video. This is just an edit of one or two of those images from that video, so that you can see that the results. And also there's links in that video, comments to my website, the galleries, where you can find my images online. So anyway, let me quit rambling and go ahead and open up Lightroom, and I'm going to start from the complete beginning. I shot this image on 1/3/19, and we're gonna walk through how I really like this. I'm in Lightroom now. The thing that happened with this image is, if we look up here on the top side of this log, I'm set in my, the image is underexposed to begin with, of the bird. Okay, I set my camera settings for the light part of the scene because I want the bird to be in the sunlight, but it just happens that this bird didn't want to get in the sunlight. But I took the picture anyway. I bumped, I lowered my shutter speed down from, let me see what this was. So this is, my metadata on this is 1/3200th of a second. Okay, and that, but just like in my video, I was at ISO 800 and f5.6. I don't change my ISO, but I do change my shutter speed in order to freeze the action, or if it's too bright, then I'll get a faster shutter speed and let less light in, and so on and so forth. If it's too dark, then I slow down my shutter speed. It has happened right here at 1/3200th of a second. I was exposing for the bird and hoping for the birds, and aiming for the birds that were in the bright part of the scene. It just happens, like I say, that this one was down here under the on the dark side of the scene. So, and I didn't change my shutter speed because I could, it happened so fast that I didn't do it. And so anyway, this video is going to be how I go ahead and edit that image anyway and still make it look really nice. So we're gonna go from here, and I'm just going to take this image over to Photoshop and let this come over. Okie dokie. Kind of opened. Kind of weird. It was odd. You missing something here? I'm at 25%. Something looks weird. Probably my imagination. Okay, so what I want to do first all, I think this image is really nice. There's a lot of action in here. It's and that's what I like about this image. So not looking at anything else right now other than how I want this composition to be different. Now I'm an AI servo, so I can't focus and recompose, and this scene was happening really quick, so I'm an AI servo. I lock focus on the bird and I take the image. So what I want to do is we're gonna go image, rotate, let's do counterclockwise. I really think something like this is nice. And we'll go over here to camera raw, and I'm going to go to scale, and let's bring this in, and let's change this a little bit I like this right in here. Let me just take a quick look and see what I think. If I like her up there or down there, leave more room up here. You know, it's half a dozen one way or 12 the other. It just depends on personal taste. Personally, I think there's too much going on down here. So what I'll do is I'll just bring it back down. It eliminates a little bit of that and leaves room up here. And makes it look a little less busy. So, okay, let's click OK and take a look at this. And let me zoom into this at 100%. There we go. 105, whatever. Okay. All right. Let's go back over now to camera. I might crop this in a little bit more. And I can because the clarity's there. And that's the other thing. You can see how sharp it is on this little bird with that 400mm lens that I use. It's without IS, and this is, you know, taken on a tripod. So let's go over and let's bring that up just a little bit more. And I think right in there. Now let's go over here and make some basic adjustments to the. Let's come in on this a little bit and see it's still really sharp, you know. And I just to look at all that, you can see the little saliva or bird saliva on the acorn, some reflective moisture on there. I'm assuming it's bird saliva. I don't know, birds do have saliva, right? Yeah. Okay, so overall, I'm going to look at the image now. Compositionally, I think I'm pretty spot on where I'd like to be. So let's just go ahead and open this up from Camera Raw. Okay. And the first thing I want to tackle is, let's go over here to, I'm on layers. I'm going to go over here to channels, and I'm going to push Control, go back to layers. Okay, I'm going to push Control J. And that's going to bring this whole background, everything but the, you know, it's going to bring all the brights up, the brightest part of the scene, because I think that's a little bright back there. So I'm going to go down here, I'm going to change my blend mode. We're going to go to multiply, and I'm going to hit enter and commit to that. And all I'm looking at is this background right here, and it is a little bit intense, so we'll just back it off a little bit, something like that right in there. Okay, I'm good with that. Let's zoom in on here. Look at all these little dust and pieces of wood chips flying. I mean, there is a lot happening in this scene. Wood chips and I don't know. And I think yeah, this is a female bird here, because the females are supposed to have a black spot on the forehead before the white. So this, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is a female acorn woodpecker. She's having a hell of a time doing whatever it is she's doing. So let's zoom back out of this. Okay, and I'm happy with that. So let me make another copy of this layer here, and then now the next thing I think I want to tackle is, if I can come in here and we can see a little bit of this noise. There's a little bit of noise in the underexposed part of these wings. So what I think I'll do is I'll just come up here to filter noise, and I had the NIX Pro defined too. I really like the noise reduction in that, but for some reason now they want me to buy it. I don't know what happened. I updated some stuff, and then now I've got to buy it. So ultimately I think I probably will buy it, and I'm good. All I'm looking at is what's happening in this underexposed part, and I'm also looking at the eye over here. I want to make sure that the noise reduction doesn't soften up the eye and stuff like that too much. I just want to really have it take care of this really underexposed part of the wing that's really black. It's really black in there. And I mean, part of that is it's the bird, the color, but part of it too is that my shutter speed was, you know, I should have been on the bottom side of this wing. If I was actually metering for that and shooting for that, I would have had my shutter speed more like, you know, 1/2000th of a second, and you know, but I didn't. Now noise reduction, we've gone in and we'll just take a look. We're at let's go to 100%, 113, whatever. If you just look at the eye, that's with the noise reduction. That's without the noise reduction, and that's what I'm looking at. It's not affecting the eye, but if we scroll into this underexposed part of the wing, that's with noise reduction, that's without noise reduction. You can see what it really did in here. It helped this, but it didn't affect the eye. I don't want the eye to be dull. I don't want the eye to soften up. So so we've got that, and what I think I'll go ahead and do now is I want to go in here, and let's zoom in here. I think the first thing I want to tackle is doing some selective brightening and darkening, dodging and burning, or curves adjustment layers, things like that. So let me make a new layer here. I'm going to select my lasso tool, and I'm just going to select loosely this white area in here of the bird's wing, and then I'm going to backfill it with white, turn that off. I'm going to change my blend mode to color dodge, click OK, and we'll click enter, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce the fill. And watch what happens here. This is a neat trick. Okay, let's zoom in here to 100%. Okay, that's pretty intense right there, so we're going to back this down just a little bit more. If it'll slide, there we go. I like that right in there. That's with it, without it. Really brightens that up, and then I can go in here too. I can, if I want, I can do a mask. We don't want that brush though. Let's just do a soft round. And so, and what I do is I've got my brush. I just select a soft round, and I'm going to go ahead and make sure I'm checked on my mask here. Foreground color is set to white, and we can keep my flow at 100 because I liked the way that looked, and I'm at 100%. Let me just change my brush size, and we'll just brush back in here on the whites, so we get some nice contrast between the I should do some of this too. I just love the way these wingtips are a little brighter here. So okay, we've come back in here just a little bit. Okay, let me zoom out. Okay, now that's with it, that's without it. And if you want, I mean, I can lower the opacity and take it down a little bit more. I like it pretty punchy though because of the contrast it gives between the black here, the white here, and then this subtle white in the wingtips. Hey, what are we doing? Zoom up, there we go. I think I want to do the same thing. I want to create another layer, and there's a couple ways you can do this. I mean, you can do a curves adjustment layer, and you know, or a screen layer blend mode, you know, and then brush it back in here in the tips. But I'm going to do it this way because I really like the way that this effect comes out. So what I'll do is lasso again, and I'm just going to, we'll just go like this. It doesn't matter what I select necessarily because I'm going to use a layer mask and brush it back in. So let's do that. We will fill it with white, deselect my lasso, change the color blend mode to color dodge, commit to that, push enter. Okay, lower my fill. Okay, we'll go right in there, and I'll click a layer mask on here. I'll hold Alt, push my, and then we'll push Z. Hey, that wasn't what I wanted. Okay, we'll push Z. We'll zoom in. One day we'll zoom in. I don't know what the What's going on with this? Push my brush tool. Okay, and here I may, let's start out at 50, shift 5, and I still got a soft brush, so okay, let's brush in some of this. And you see there's a little chromatic aberration in there. I'll fix that later. No big deal. Change my brush size down in here. Okay, we'll keep it soft and right in there, right in there. And I'm using a Wacom tablet, Wacom, Wacom, whatever, to do this, so it makes it pretty precise. We'll come up here, just like that, right in there. There's a little bit in there, but I didn't select that with the lasso, so it's not going to work. Okay, now here's another neat little trick. If I think those edges are too hard, or I think they're too, there's not much of a transition in how they go, you know, how they feather out, I can go over here and I can double click on that, and I can slide my feather looking at all these tips and adjust my feather. Let me turn this off. Okay, let's do this. And then I'll see, I can turn this up or down. Okay, I think I'm good with that. Let me turn that off and just look at these wingtips in here. And I didn't add light, I just brightened up the light that was naturally falling, because her body, her wing is under there, but the wing tips come out into the light a little bit, and so okay, and there's that there. Okay, I like that, looks nice. Okay, next thing I want to go ahead and think I want to tackle, I've got that done, and I'm good with that. I'm looking at right now just the bird. I think I would also, I would like to lighten this acorn and do some other things in here. So what I'll do is, and I think the fastest way for me to do this part of it would be, let's see if I want to do a curves adjustment layer. Let me make another, let's do a curves adjustment layer and see what, I mean, there's a few ways you can tackle this. Where's curves? It's in the same spot it was last time. There we go. And I'm just looking at the acorn right here as I slide my okay. Let me invert that. Okay, let me go up here, click on my brush tool. I want a little bit harder brush for this, but I'll just bring the hardness up to, 20, and then okay, Photoshop in your little bug. Okay, now let me just, I'm at 50%, that's going to be pretty harsh, so let's do 20. There we go, and let's just bring out some of these little edges. Like that, right in there. And we can follow over on this and not just do the acorn, but we can use a little bit of this and accentuate some of the other highlights in the bird. Okay, right in here, and all these little details, are really fun to bring out. Build this up a little bit, right in there. Toggle that off and on. See, there's a difference there. You can definitely see that. Okay. Let's go through and do some other parts of the bird that I think could stand some brightening. it's just a matter of, you know, preference, personal taste right here. It's just me going through and lightening and darkening, creating a little bit of depth in the bird. Not adding stuff where it doesn't belong, but just tweaking stuff that's already there. You know, and it's just really nice up in here. This is just really cool bits of detail, tips, and I don't want to blow stuff out and lose detail. You know, let's turn that off and on so we can see where we're at. I like that's really looking really good. Right in here, the white's down in here. Okay. Right in here. Okay. A little piece right there, a little piece right there. Okay. And it's just, and we just follow along the bird, you know, bringing some of this stuff out. And I do it at a low flow to begin with because I can build on it this way. There we go. Whew. Sound effects are free. See that? Okay. There's already some in there. Let me back out of this and just take an overall look and toggle off and on. Oh yeah, I mean, you can definitely see where this has brought out some interest. Look at the beak, the edge of the mouth, and the acorn there. Look at that. Really brought out some. And I got another trick for this acorn to make some nice color in that. But you can really see, even just right in here, look what these couple, two lines, well, one line and kind of a J brush that I did, what that does to that acorn. It just adds some depth right there. Ah, it's awesome. Fun stuff, man. I mean, so let's see where else. I back out of the image and I just get a look at the bird and I see what other spots I think could benefit from. Let me increase my brush size. What other spots could benefit from some attention? You know, we're at 20. Let's see if just really, I don't like that last stroke. There we go. But I like that right in there. It's nice. A little bit of this right there. And let's see what this does down in here. If you don't like it, switch your foreground color to black and brush it away. I think this could benefit from a little. Okay. There we go. Okay. And I think I'm good with the, let's turn that off. And look at that. I mean, that really has done some subtle improvements to the appearance of the bird. Another visible layer here. And now let's do another bit to this acorn over here that I would like to do. I would like to take and let's do one more thing here. Let's go to lasso. Let's make another copy and let's make a circle on here. Fill that one white. I'm going to change it like I did to the wing. Color dodge is right there. It hasn't moved. Okay. Lower my opacity, my fill. Okay. We'll do that. And I'll layer mask that. Go to my brush tool. Foreground to white. Brush is kind of big right here, so let's gleam. It might be a little tints. Let's do. There we go. Okay. Like that. Let's toggle that off and on. That adds a little something in there. I think I would like to bring out, maybe if I can, a little bit more of these feet. So let's try this. Let's change my blend mode to screen. Okay, push enter. I'm gonna go over here to my blend if, and I'm gonna adjust my slider. There we go. Because see what it did is I've brought back, I didn't just, let me just take it back. Okay, right here there is some, let me zoom in on that bird real quick so you can see what I'm talking about. There is some white and dark values in there, and there's some chromatic aberration. I need to get that fixed. Don't let me forget. But what I want to do is, right now we're on the screen blend mode, but I don't want it so white. So what I'm doing is I'm adjusting my slider, pushing Alt, splitting my slider, and bringing some whites in where they go, but not over the top of the darker values that are in there. Okay, and all I'm looking at right here is the feet. I'm not looking at the rest of the bird. I don't care. I just want some of that nice texture back in there, probably right in there, and then we can lower the fill if my slider will work. There we go. Okay. Now, as a whole on the image, it looks like crap, but I'm just looking at the feet. So we'll toggle that off and on. See the feet? Brings a little value back in there. So let's zoom in on that, and then we'll create that layer mask, and I'll brush this stuff back in. We're at 5%. You could do it. Let's go to 10 and just see what we're looking like. Foreground to white, brush some of this detail back in. I don't want it overwhelmingly super bright right there because it's not a bright part of the scene. I don't want to make it look overly manipulated, but I do want something back in there. Okay, see how awesome this is? Fun stuff. Okay. Brush some of this. Now that'd be dark down in there. And since I did blend if, it's not going to affect that anyway. It's only going on the lighter parts. That's what adjusting that slider does. It sort of narrows down where you want the change to take place. Okay, so before it's dark and not much, not much detail in there. There's some light and dark you can see, but this really brings it back out. And then I'm going to lower that a little bit because it looks pretty heavy. Let's come back out and let's without it with it, and I think that just adds a little bit to it. It makes it look pretty, a little more interesting. Now we've done that, let's go over here, and my next deal is the eye. I think for the eye, let me just make another layer, and then I'm going to make a curves adjustment layer on the eye. And curves, we're going to just look at the eye as we drag up. Well, if I can drag up. There we go. Okay, whoops. Hey, why is this thing acting cuckoo? There we go. Just drag up a little bit. Okay. Control I, invert that. Go on my brush. And we're at 10%. Let's zoom in here. Go back to my brush tool. Okay. White foreground color. We're at 10%. Let's go a little higher. Let's go to 20. Put my brush a little smaller. There we go. Come in here a little bit. Bring a little something back in there. See the light right here? There's light here, so there would be light here. You don't want to brighten this up way over here. There wouldn't be any light falling right there. So I kind of paid a little bit of attention to where my light is falling. Okay. Take this back down over in here. Okay, I'm good with that. Let's add a little brightness to the underside of the bird. To the underside of the bird and the top of the log. And I can do this with the same, all at the same time, just by, changing the blend mode to screen and then adding more or less flow to the different areas I want to affect the change in. So, okay, let's toggle off. Let's hit this log. Let's do a layer mask here. Change the brush tool. Let's change my brush size. There we go. Just a little bit in there. Okay. That adds just a little bit in there. And let's go back over here to Z. See what it's done to my edges. It's got a little bit to my edges, so I mean, it's not something you're going to notice. I'm working at it. %, but we don't want it so obvious in here. Brush some of that back out along the edges. Okay. Just kind of look. Yeah, we're good. Look at all these particles of wood and everything flying. She was having a grand old time. Okay, and I'm good with the log like that. That's before, right there, and that's after. Okay, just do a little sharpening. There's two ways I want to sharpen this. The first one, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to make 3 layers. I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to go to, I'm going to use apply image to sharpen. So we're going to go to blur, Gaussian blur. 50 is fine. The more you blur, the more detail it kind of accentuates in this method. And we'll go over here into image, apply image, subtract, merge. We're going to do layer 1 and change the blend mode. I'm going to go between hard light, soft light, and overlay and see which one I like best. So let's zoom in here. Okay, and toggle off and on. Okay, I do like the eye and I do like the acorn. I do like the body too. I love the way the depth is right here. This is just really cool. The depth in between the feathers and the darks and the lights. It's just really super cool. Let's take a look at soft light. Okay, here's soft light. It's not as hard as hard light. Toggle that off and on. I do like this one also. Let's try one look at overlay. Overlay's a little punchier than soft light generally, but not as hard as hard light. And I like this. I think I want to just go with overlay, but I'm going to layer mask it back in with varying flows to apply more or less of that effect to the different parts of the bird. So let's layer mask that brush. Let's go to 50%, shift 5, foreground color to white. Let me come in here. Let's brush some of this acorn. Okay. I love that little ridge right in there when I added that little bit of white. Okay. Let's see what 50 does. If we stay at 50 and we go over here to the edge of the mouth, just get a little bit crispier in there. A little bit right in there. Edge of the eye here. Let's get in here on these feathers. And no, I'm not doing the whole, just going in this whole chest area. I'm just doing certain spots to create the depth. Okay, I don't know if there's a technical word for this, but it's the way I do it. Like I'm not over here doing it, you know, this, I just created, let me toggle that off. Look in this area. Just by doing the darks, I've created a whole bunch of depth in that bird. And it's the same over here. Let's do a little bit right in here. Right in there. Let's do a little bit like that. See how this, see how it affects everything. Let's hit some of this in here. And it looks like I'm hitting it all, but I've got my pressure sensitive, you know, sensitivity on my tablet, so it's not hitting all, you know, you can see where it's affecting. Look, really looks really cool. Okay, and I'm at 50% on all of this. Let's take a look at, I'm not going to sharpen any of that because it's just going to make that look like crap. Okay, let me zoom out. Let's take a quick look at this. That's with the sharpening, without. With, you just notice a huge difference right in here, man. Just a huge difference. Look at that. Really, really cool. Okay, so let me throw that layer away, and then I'll come up and I'm not so worried about sharpening all this right in here, but the less I sharpen this, the sharper my bird's gonna look. And let me just do one other thing. Filter, camera raw. Let me just see one other thing. If I go over here, I don't know if, just bring that in a little bit more. And I think, let's see, I like it low. I still need to tackle the, in Lightroom, the chromatic aberrations of this one here. Whoops, there we go. So let's see. There we go. Let's go over here to the library. Let's go here to chromatic aberrations. And we've got some green fringing in here, so we'll slide my deal over here, and then I'll increase my until I see the green disappear. Fortunately, there's no green fringe around the bird or anything like that. There's not much green in the image, so it really can do a good job here. Let's see what else we've got. It was pretty much there in the claws. See, right in here's a tiny bit of it. I mean, we can, yeah, you know, and nobody's going to be looking at this image at this high of a percentage with a magnifying glass. And I think we got a really cool image here. The one thing I did forget to do is I forgot to put my signature on here. So let's go back to Photoshop. Yes, go to my brush tool. Brush tool, this one. Okay, I'm gonna 100%. I want it to be over in here, I think. That's fine, that's better. Okay, and I think overall I'm good with this, and we'll just go ahead and take it back over to Lightroom.